We are diving into something that's currently internal, highly experimental, and it's quietly shaking the very foundations of the AI race.
We're talking about OpenAI's secretive model, codenamed Garlic.
Exactly. And the thing is, while everyone's watching the big public showdowns, Google's Gemini and Anthropic's Claude OpenAI has been cooking up something totally different behind the scenes.
And that's what makes this so fascinating. This isn't just another incremental update. It's not the GPT 4.5 everyone was looking for.
No, not at all. This is a purpose-built model designed from the ground up to, well, reassert their dominance, both technically and strategically.
So our mission today is to get past that code name. We want to really understand the core technical upgrades that make Garlic, frankly, revolutionary.
And we need to dig into how it solves some of the biggest problems that still plague these models. Things like hallucinations, context loss, and of course, the massive costs.
Then we can zoom out and look at what it means for you. I mean, if you're a founder, a developer, anyone building on this tech, Garlic represents a major pivot.
Right, so to frame this, we found a pretty useful analogy that I think really helps. Think about the evolution of AI, like hiring talent.
Okay, so if GPT-3 was that really enthusiastic intern, super creative, but, made a lot of mistakes.
And GPT 4.5 feels like that overworked, high-performing project manager who's just juggling way too much and starts to drop the ball on complex tasks.
Then Garlic is something else entirely. It's the quiet CTO.
Yes. The one who works through the night, doesn't boast, but just fundamentally understands how to build a system that doesn't break. And crucially, it doesn't make those sloppy, high-level mistakes.
And that quiet confidence, it comes from its architecture. That's what we really need to deconstruct.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because this isn't just about throwing more data or more parameters at the problem. We're talking about 4 massive structural upgrades.
The first one, and you could argue it's the most foundational, is something the team is calling modular intelligence.
Okay, so what does that actually mean? Most current models, like GPT-4, they're monolithic, right? One big brain.
Exactly. One giant neural network trying to do everything from, say, solving differential equations to writing a sonnet. And it's using the exact same wiring for both tasks.
Which is where the problems start. If I ask it to solve a tricky logic puzzle but keep the tone of a pirate, it has to juggle those two things, and that's when it breaks.
Precisely. That internal conflict is what generates those familiar errors, the hallucinations. Garlic fixes this by splitting its architecture into focused zones.
So like different departments in a company?
A perfect analogy. You've got a dedicated logic zone for pure reasoning, a separate memory zone for context, and then a distinct language zone for fluency.
So if it gets a complex prompt, how does that work in practice?
It gives it what you call executive function. A central routing layer analyzes the request and sends the heavy lifting to the right module.
Ah, okay.
So if you ask it to solve a complex engineering problem and then summarize the result, it hits the logic zone first, locks in the correct answer, and only then passes that result to the language zone to make it sound good.
So it stops the AI from trying to be creative when it should just be doing math. That's a huge step for reliability, isn't it?
It's a massive lead. It means Garlic can solve that math problem without derailing the narrative it's building. The processes are physically separate in its neural structure.
And that would make it so much better at sticking to the facts in a long document, for instance.
Profoundly better. The memory module is only focused on retrieval and verification, not on the creative part. That separation is the key to its consistency.
Okay, that brings us to the second upgrade. And this one is going to matter to a lot of people listening. Codex plus.
Right. The original Codex was powerful for coding, but this is a whole other level.
What's the plus part? What's the real evolution here?
Well, if previous models were like a good junior or mid-level developer, you ask for a function, they write you a function. Garlic's Codex++ is the senior developer, the architect. It sees the bigger picture beyond just the immediate task.
Can you give me a concrete example? What's the difference in output?
A junior dev AI writes the code you ask for. A senior dev AI refactors it. It will tell you why your existing structure is inefficient or creating technical debt. It performs architectural critique.
Wow. Okay.
It might suggest switching frameworks entirely if it sees a better path. It can perform diffs across your entire code base to find fundamental flaws in logic, not just simple syntax errors.
That's not just code creation, that's code remediation. That's a huge force multiplier for development teams.
You're moving from an autocompleter to a genuine engineering partner that can hold the context of a massive project in its head.
And speaking of context, That's the third major problem, isn't it? The context
The
window.
one everyone runs into.
Yeah, the longer the conversation goes, the more likely the model is just to forget what you were talking about 5 minutes ago. You constantly have to remind it. It's so frustrating.
That friction is probably the biggest barrier to using AI for truly long-term, complex work. The model just loses the thread.
So how does Garlic fix that? It's not just a bigger memory bucket, is it?
And that's the key. It's not bigger, it's smarter. Most models treat memory as one long linear tape.
Right.
Garlic uses an adaptive indexing system. So instead of trying to hold every single word of a 50,000-word document in its active memory, it automatically summarizes and tags the less relevant parts.
So it's like it's creating its own smart index as it goes, a filter.
Precisely. It prioritizes what's recent, what's important, like named entities, and it abstracts away the older stuff into these compact little markers. This means it doesn't lose the plot, because the key facts are always indexed and ready for instant retrieval by that dedicated memory zone we talked about.
That's a quality of life upgrade that is just,
Yeah.
it's huge for anyone building a real application. That's what makes a bot feel robust.
And that leads right into the fourth point, which
Yeah.
is usually the most boring part of the conversation,
Yeah.
but strategically it's the most important.
Efficiency and scalability.
Exactly. GPT-4 is incredibly powerful, but it's famously expensive to run. It's a dense architecture. It fires up almost its entire massive network for basically every single query.
And when you're a startup making millions of API calls, that cost is everything. So how does the quiet CTO model solve the budget problem?
Well, this is where that modular design really pays off again. Because Garlic's architecture is specialized, it only activates the neurons it actually needs for a task. It's what's known as a sparsely activated system.
So back to the math problem. If I just ask for a quick calculation, it only spins up the small optimized logic engine. It doesn't waste power on the language parts.
You got it. And that simple change drives three critical outcomes for any business.
Okay.
1, way less power consumption. 2, much faster response times. And 3, a dramatically lower cost per query.
You're basically turning a high-end, almost too expensive research model into something that can be a viable commercial product at a global scale.
This is serious scalability baked right in. If you can deliver GPT-4 level intelligence at, say, a tenth of the cost, you've just solved the single biggest bottleneck for enterprise adoption.
Okay, so let's connect those dots for everyone listening. If you pair that massive efficiency with that deep modular intelligence, why should a founder or a developer care so deeply about this internal project?
You should care, because this is the technology that's going to make AI feel less like a clever but very expensive toy.
And more like a utility.
Exactly. A toolbox of superpowers that you can actually rely on without worrying that it's going to forget things or bankrupt you.
Let's get specific. Think about a startup building on OpenAI's API. Their biggest variable cost is query complexity, right?
Right. But with Garlic, if you have a high-volume task that needs deep reasoning but not much creativity like, say, auditing financial documents, the cost drop from sparse activation is immense. It opens up whole new business models that just weren't economically viable before.
And the applications themselves get so much better. I mean, we've all dealt with customer service bots that are just brittle. They break the second you go off script.
Because they can't actually reason. Garlic's modular intelligence means a bot could actually reason through a complex problem, access a huge knowledge base, and hold context across a long conversation. It goes from an annoying chatbot to a high-level support agent.
And for engineering teams, the Codex ++ part, I mean, that's just a game changer. It's not just writing boilerplate code anymore.
No, it's an engineering co-pilot that can review your pull request, spot a critical vulnerability, and suggest a better architectural approach to fix it, instantly and cheaply.
The implication here is that Garlic, or whatever tech comes from it, becomes the foundational AI layer for, well, almost everything.
It handles the heavy lifting, the reasoning, the consistency, which lets developers focus purely on the user experience.
But the strategy here, the way they develop this in secret, is almost as interesting as the tech itself.
The silence is the statement. Garlic isn't just a new model, it's a move. It's OpenAI saying, we see the landscape.
Yeah.
We know speed and utility now matter more than just raw size.
It's the ultimate quiet CTO move. No flashy demo, no big press release. Just pure, undeniable capability that's focused on what enterprise users actually need. Results.
It signals a real shift in the industry, away from the hype cycle and toward architectural superiority and economic efficiency. The era of just building bigger and bigger models might be coming to an end.
So what does this all mean? If we put this whole picture together, the modularity, the code skills, the context, the efficiency, what's our final summary?
It means the really hard fundamental problems of AI, the hallucinations and the insane costs, are being directly addressed with a completely new architecture.
To recap, Garlic is internal, strategic, and way more efficient. Its modular design is a direct answer to the limitations everyone is hitting with the current APIs.
And that brings us to the final provocative thought for you to take away. Given that a model this capable and this efficient already exists inside OpenAI, what does that signal about the timeline for their next big public release?
Whether it's called GPT-5 or GPT 4.8 or something else, they've clearly shown their hand internally. The priority is cost-efficient, deep reasoning.
Right. And the big question for the next year in AI is this. What's the time lag between an internal breakthrough like Garlic and when we see it in the public API? How quickly can they productize this CTO-level intelligence? So I'd say keep a close eye on the subtle performance gains and cost adjustments in their public tools.
So the features we just talked about might trickle out rather than arriving in one big splashy announcement.
That's what I'd be watching for.
Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and keep an eye on the quiet moves being made behind the curtain.